The Broncos. Well, it's not tactically, but simple. There's magic in sweat.
Yeah.
He worked them to the bone in the off-season. There's been criticism. It was over the top. But when you saw them in the trial game, they looked rock hard fit. They were ready to go. And just the way they moved across the field, when you're fitter and you're a big guy and you've lost a few kilos, see how much better their movement was and their footwork, their defensive energy, everything.
Yeah, I find the commentary really hard about Madge is training the Broncos too hard. Like, does anyone ever question what Ivan Cleary's done with Penrith? Does anyone ever question Craig Bellamy's army camp that he does every year? No. Yeah. There's a reason why you train to the red line is so your players can touch it without going over it. And then when you come to the 78th minute of a big game, you are redlining. So you need to build up resilience, and that's exactly what the good teams do. One thing I will say about the Broncos is sign of a good coach is when you take average players to good, good to great, and great to elite.
Hey,
Corey Pakes
spot on.
Has been terrific. And then the other end of the scale, Payne Haas was tremendous. Like every time he touched the ball, he did something. Payne Haas, he's gotten better.
I listened to some comments going into the game, hours before the game, and they were like, Pakes at the starting line, Hetherington, mate, what's he doing? But just the evidence, I mean, these were players they were going to let go.
Yep.
And like you said, mate, Pakes was, just how strong he looked physically. Same with Kobe. Kobe Hetherington looked far more athletic than Shibasaki.
Yep.
Like, here's an example, and you said before, like, Payne Haas has just elevated himself to another level. He was unstoppable. But the young bloke, Xavier Willison, coming off the bench, like, you look at how, like, he looks really, really good. There's a sort of feel about Nelson Safa-Solomona about him coming off with impact.
Yep.
They look fantastic, and there's nothing tinny about what they do. It's all calculated, good hard work.
And it was 40 minutes in the pre-season against the Dogs was enough to show that they had something there.
Yep.
And that combination of Adam Reynolds and Ben Hunt is going to be a very, very good thing.
Love it, Coops.
Like, Ezra Mam, I wouldn't move Ben Hunt. I don't care what Ezra Mam does from here on out. Ben Hunt is my 5'8" for the rest of the year. One, the cultural piece, right, with what Ezra went through. But two, I think with the talent the Broncos have, Staggs, Cobbo, Walsh, Payne Haas, Carrigan, Adam Reynolds in 2023 got a lot of things right to control that team in terms of all the decision-making.
Yep.
And to be fair, he made a couple of decisions at the back end of that grand final that played a part in them losing, right?
Yep.
Now, with Ben Hunt, 34 years of age, having done what he's done, I like that there's two guys either side of the field that are very good at making decisions. Yeah. Their composure is great. So you can let Walsh out on a rein a little bit, but then one of them can pull him back in on that side. So I like what Ben Hunt did. Little short side down against the Roosters, a 3-on-2 executed. So he's gone from being a first receiver halfback dominating the Dragons, touching the ball 1,000 times, to basically picking his moments on the left-hand side and complementing what Adam Reynolds and Reece Walsh have.
Yep.
Like, I think it's very good against the Roosters, and doesn't matter for me what Ezra Mam does. Ben Hunt stays there.
Coops, that's the thing. If you've got one experienced playmaker in your side, it's a godsend.
Yep.
You see the difference it made to the Broncos when Adam Reynolds went there, to that young forward pack that was so good but didn't have a steering wheel. He arrives, but to have two now on the field. And on Ezra's going to give Madge flexibility. Right, he can play him 14. The other thing he can do as well is like one thing about Adam and Ben, they're not spring chickens. There's going to be times through the year that they need a break. It's going to give him the ability to just rotate the spine a little bit, which is going to be invaluable. And time their run for the two 34-year-olds to play their best footy at the back end of the year. That's the role Ezra Mam would play after what I've seen from those halves. And you just touched on it there, like playing short sides. A side has had a very good off-season, not just in training, but planning, getting down pat their structure and the science of their game and how they're going to do things when they play short sides so well. There's the subtleties, jumping out the open, switching back to get rid of the markers. And just a little difference between playing halfback and 5'8". A halfback is really got the blinkers on. There's a lot of eyes down the middle of the field about what he can do running the ball or a short pass. When you're a second receiver 5'8", your eyes are a little bit more wider
looking at options for the outside.
Yep.
Right. So what Ben Hunt's brought to his game now is that he can actually start looking a bit further afield, looking for reads, looking for wingers, and he's coming up with plays.
Well, talking about sixes and sevens later, we're going to talk about all the difference between both.